Hi, we're gonna continue on our class here, and some of you already turned in the assignment. That's really great. Your willingness to learn is a big encouragement to me. This is a fun class. Hopefully we all learn something. And we're going to continue on this 2D description of 3D object. We already talked about isometric view, and today we're going to talk about what we call oblique view. In oblique view, there are two methods. The first one is cavalier view, and just like any drawing method, we have three steps. The first step is to take the view angle. For cavalier view, the view angle is the front surface of the object. For example, I'm using my T box as an object here, as an example here again. And if this is the front surface, and then you draw the front surface. Let's say you draw the front surface here. You draw the front surface, and so that's a view angle here. And then next step is the size. You tilt the size up and right 45 degrees. So tilt size up and right 45 degrees. So you draw this one 45 degrees, so that's going to be 45 degrees here. And now actual angle is going to be 90 degrees, but you change it into 45 degrees. And this side too, so 45 degrees here. And then the third step is how long should be the lines. You make a true length, and the true length depends on the scale. Let's say if mine here, the scale, if it's quarter inch, let's say it's quarter inch equal to 1 inch scale. I'm drawing a little bit smaller. So if this line here is 2 inches, then a quarter inch, so you draw it half inch. So you draw a half inch, and half inch here, half inch, and half inch. So that's gonna be the T box here. So that's a true length here. Now, the cavalier view, when we have these lines here, it creates something we call optical illusion. For example, if I have two lines, this line and this line here, they are the same length. But if you look at those two lines, you'll feel this line is longer than this one here. To solve this problem, especially when we are drawing cabinets in the cabinet industry, we have something we call a cabinet view. Cabinet view is very similar to cavalier view. The first step is also view. You choose the view angle or view perspective, and it's from the front surface, so it's the same front surface. And then the size, the second step is the side surface. You tilt up right 45 degrees, the same, tilt up right 45 degrees. So like my T box here, I have the same here. Let's say I'm just a freehand drawing here. So you tilt up right 45 degrees. Now, the third step is different. Instead of true length, now you gotta use half scale. So that means depending on your original scale, if my original scale is quarter inch equal to 1 inch, and then I gotta put another half on that. So make the side length to be 1/8 of an inch equal to 1 inch. So if my T box, if this is 2 inches divided by 8, So you have a 1/4 inch, you have 0.25 inch. So you draw this one 0.25 inch, 0.25 inch. So that will be your T box here. That's gonna be, oh my, I gotta use a ruler here. That's gonna be your T box. Okay, so that's the difference between the cavalier view and the cabinet view. So that's the second method here. And then the third method is what we call the perspective view. Perspective view. Now, this method is really not a technical method, it's more like an artistic method here. And a perspective view is based on this principle. For example, if you have, if you're standing on a railroad, you have two rails here, you have two rails here, you have two rails here, right? You have two rails here. Let's say you're standing here. Let's say if you are standing here, you look at that. Okay, so let's say that's somebody, okay, standing there. I'm drawing like a butthead, Simpsons and butthead. Anyway, you look at the rails like that, and it's not, those two rails are parallel. They're not gonna come to a point. But when you look at the rails, it looks like the rail eventually is gonna come to a point, right? So those are rails, and eventually it's gonna come to a point. Eventually it's gonna come to a point. So that's the principle, the perspective view based. And let's take a look at the example again. Again, the perspective view, we have two methods. And one method is we call one point method, one point method. And this one point method is like, okay, you look at the rail, and this rail is gonna come to one point. I'll give an example of my T-box again. I said about the scale is gonna be 1/4 inch equal to 1 inch. Just draw it kind of a little smaller on my paper here. So this one point method, again, the sequence is the same. You first got to have a view angle, and the view angle now for my box is a front surface. Okay, front surface. So I'm gonna draw this one here. That's my T box, front surface. Draw a little bit better here. Okay, that's a front surface. Then the one point method for the side surface, you got to imagine this side surface extend to infinite length, extend this one to infinite length, and then eventually those surface is gonna come to a point we call vanish into a point upper right, into a point upper right. So eventually this box, if you extend the size to infinite length, eventually they're gonna vanish into a point, let's say into this point here, into this point. So eventually they're gonna vanish into this point. And then see, the number 3 step is that now this is not a technical, this is more like artistic, because now you got to proportion the length. How do you proportion the length? Make a huge difference. That's why a good artist and a bad artist Oh, no, there's no bad artist. But anyway, somebody draw something looks like real. Somebody draw something looks like unreal, or maybe what do we say? Picasso or something like that. Anyway, so proportion the length. Now, let's say that's my length here. That's my length here. That's my length. I proportion the length. So I'm gonna draw this. I'm gonna proportion the length, and that's my T box. That's my T box. So that's my T box here. So that's one point method. The second method is what we call 2-point method. 2-point method. Okay, now 2-point method, again, the first step, you choose a view angle. A view angle. And now a view angle for 2-point method is going to be a line. It's going to be a line here. It's going to be one line. One corner or a line. A corner or line here. Okay, so my T box here, I'm going to choose this line. I'm going to choose this line here. So that's my line here. Okay, and then the second step is all the surface, including front surface and side surface. They're going to vanish, all surfaces. Vanish into 2 points. 2 points. One is upright, one is left horizontal. Okay, so one upright, one left horizontal. Okay, let me put it here. Okay, I'm gonna put it here. So this is my box. This corner here, and one point is gonna be here, and one point will be here. One point will be here. Okay, one point will be here. So they're gonna vanish into this point. Vanish into this point here. I missed that point. Oh, there. So vanish into this point. Vanish into this point. So vanish into this point here. Now the third step is again you proportion the length. Proportion the length. Okay, now this side I have this length, I proportion this length and this length here. And this side I proportion the length. I say, well, that's gonna be the length here. And then from that point, it's gonna vanish into this point. So it's gonna vanish into, so you have a line here, and this point is gonna vanish into this point here. And then you proportion this length, and actually this point is gonna vanish into this. It's gonna vanish into this here. It's gonna vanish into this. So now you have the T box like this. Now you have a T box like this. Okay, so you can see it vanished into 2 points. Vanished into 2 points. Now 35 years ago, when I was in college, we used to take a drawing board, especially like this time of the year, spring. The outside is really nice. Like today, the outside really nice. We draw buildings. Okay, we draw buildings, and we use a 2-point method or 1-point method. We draw buildings. And now I'm gonna give you an assignment. How about give this perspective view a try, and maybe you go outside and try to draw a building. How about that? I didn't talk much about it. That's probably gonna be really hard. But maybe use a two-point method. Two-point method to draw a building. You can see. Choose a simpler building. Okay, and so this is gonna be the assignment for this week. Assignment for this week. And I'll make it due next Monday. Okay, Monday next week. So you go outside and take a piece of paper and pencil, try to draw a building, a simpler building, okay, nearby, and use two-point method, two-point perspective view, and give it a try, okay, perspective view. And you make it vanish. You make the building vanish into 2 points. Take your time. Normally, when I was in college, when we do the drawing, to draw a building is probably like 2 days assignment. We gotta stay outside for 2 days. So don't finish in 5 minutes. Take your time and try to draw it. Okay. So that's gonna be the assignment.